Bum 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 bum.
Tomatoes?
Hello, welcome to video 4. What is HUD? Get text size. The get text size node is part of the HUD class, and it basically gives us back the width and the height of a string that we put in using the font and the scale that we give it. Let me show you what I mean by this. If I hit play, we have two things on our screen. This is the dimensions of our string in screen size. It's 539 pixels across by 73 pixels tall. The get text size node takes in the HUD as the target. It takes in a text. So in this case, I could type in whatever I wanted, or I'm making a literal string. It needs a text value. For the string, it's going to be basically sizing. It needs the font so it knows what size it's supposed to be. If you don't have a font chosen, it's going to use the default font for the system. If you do have a font chosen, it's going to use that one. In this case, I created a font, and you can see it right here. It's just simply using some default settings and a default size, and that's my font. And then we have a scale. And of course, the scale is a multiplier based on the font size. So scale of 1 is default, lower and higher is smaller and bigger. Now, you might be asking, well, what would we need this for? Well, when you're using the draw HUD events, you don't really have any sort of positioning. Your positioning is literally when we draw text where we tell it to put it. So by knowing what size something is before we draw it, we can know whether or not it's going to be off the screen or not. We could, for example, if we run this, we'll notice that it's 539 by 73. So we know it's 539 wide. So we could always grab our width, for example, of the entire screen. So in this case, I am grabbing the text size, adding 100 to it, and putting it over. This is for our actual draw text over here on the right-hand side, for this is my text screen. But let's say I wanted it maybe offset. Maybe I wanted it off to the side a little bit. Well, we could, for example, get the viewport size and bring it back 100. Or bring it back 20 once we know the width. So, for example, this is what I have here. You'll notice that this is my text string right here. This is always going to be 100 below where we want it. So you notice it comes down 100 below this one. We figure out the size of this one. We add 100 to that size, and we end up getting it below it. So now even if I was to scale, for example, let's change this to 2, scale of 2, scale of 2, and a scale of 2, and I hit play, my text is still going to be 100 units below the size. If I didn't do that, if I just, for example, put it at 100, or let's say I guessed and assumed 200, because hey, if this one's drawing at 100, 100, and this one's drawing at 100, 200, it's 100 below, right? But if you notice, it's not quite equidistant, and depending on the text size, we might have an issue. So it just allows us to know the actual size for formatting purposes. That's what the node's for. It just grabs the text and the information we give it and gives us an X and a Y, a width and a height in integer. And that's it. That is all our get text size is used for. It's useful if you need to make sure you can position things properly in your HUD. Maybe you want to make sure it doesn't wrap. For example, your width of your viewport is 720, and you find out your text is going to be 1000. You're going to know it's going to trail off, so you might want to make your string smaller. And that's it. That's going to wrap up our get text size node.